Hey, it's Dr. Charles here, aka CoachMD, bringing you my 12 noon Magical Monday broadcast to get everyone off on the right foot, including me. I look forward to these broadcasts because it gets my Monday going, gets my week going, gets me focused, and that's what I'm really looking to do. Because as a medical doctor, I see that yes, people do have physical pain, but at the core of much physical pain is emotional pain. And when we don't address that, the physical pain will just continue to fester, and so many other aspects of our life will continue to not be quite right, not quite what we expected it to be, and not quite right what it should be for all of us. So on my Magical Monday broadcast, I'd like to bring some ideas, some thoughts that I have that might make your journey and your week go a little bit more smoothly. So what I'd like to talk to you today, to talk to you about today, is again this month of March. Well, it's a changeable month, and they say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. And in the Northeast here, that's playing out pretty wildly. But it is the month of spring, and spring embraces change and growth. And last week I talked about growth and personal growth and change and how vital that is to stay alive. But what I do notice and what I observe is that when we do grow and we do step out of that comfort zone, we notice that certain things happen. Things don't seem quite right, seem a little bit off balance. And that's when we start experiencing the physical symptoms of depression sometimes and anxiety. And I like to break things down to kind of manageable packages, manageable ways that we can deal with them. So that's when I wrote my book, Brain Drain. That was what I was focusing on, really very specific the things that go on in our brain. And when I talk about anxiety and depression, I'm going to kind of break it down to where those come from, even though everybody's different and it's not a broad stroke explaining everything with just simple, but simple does it a lot of the time. So when we step out of that comfort zone, when we try to change, when we try to get our week off on the right foot and do things that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable, we may often seem feelings of depression or anxiety. So the depression often comes from regrets and sadness as we look to the past. So depression is more associated with the past and our past experiences, the regrets and the sadness of events that happen that we wish could happen now and haven't or aren't going to. And then anxiety is our projection into the future, into the what ifs, into the great unknown. And that's what I talked about last week, is that our brain will help us to fight and flee anything that it perceives or brings in as possible danger. And the unknown is a great danger, and the future being an unknown is a great danger. But what do we try to do? What we try to do is we try to make sure that each step outside of our comfort zone is predictable, so it doesn't it's not unexpected. So we play out these scenarios of the future, and those possibilities become very daunting and very scary. Now, I've done a lot of writing and talking about this, and look for a free ebook that I've just wrote. It's called Fake News, and we've all heard that term. Fake news stories by the brain. Now, I wrote it, and I'm not calling myself a brain. Okay, that's not, I'm not the brain. But anyway, yes, that's my free ebook. So look for that. Look for that, because I think that'll help you understand a lot about what happens when we venture forward and when that anxiety or that depression starts hitting in. So let's say it's Magical Monday. We want to get our week off on the right foot, and we want to do something that's a little different. And we start feeling anxious about it. And it will feel anxious, but try to actually embrace that anxiety a little bit. Now, it's a very uncomfortable physical feeling. I understand that. I get anxious. I have anxiety. I've had panic attacks. I know exactly what it feels like, and it doesn't feel good. But if you actually go with it and don't be embarrassed by it and kind of let it happen, what I've observed in myself, I once had a panic attack and I let it play out. I didn't take any pills or anything. I let it play out from start to finish. It lasted about, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And the only reason why panic attacks actually are self-limited, because the adrenaline that your brain, when you're fighting and fleeing, it will put out adrenaline and cortisol. Those hormones are stimulating electrochemical response that only lasts about 2 or 3 minutes. So why do these things go on and on? Why do people say, oh, panic attacks just keep going? Well, they keep going because it's what we feed further our brain. And that ebook, I really go into this in detail, but that physical sensation that was actually caused by an emotional one, that physical sensation of ill feeling also sends another signal to the brain: danger. And what does the brain do? It causes us to fight or flee. More panic symptoms. Danger. Fight or flee. So when I said I let it play out, I let it play out. I let my heart beat out of my, into my throat, out of my chest, all those things. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to have a heart attack, this or that. I just let it play out. Lasts about 2 or 3 minutes. The interesting thing is that the sensation that I had after that was the almost identical sensation that I've gotten when I've experimented myself by taking, let's say, a Valium or a Klonopin, or I've never taken Klonopin, but I've taken lorazepam. I've tried that, and the exact same symptom I get. Believe it or not, the same symptom I get or the same response I get from the lorazepam, I almost get the same exact response from a supplement called GABA, capital G, capital A, capital B, capital A. GABA, because that's what these medications do. They stimulate the brain to produce that substance. So anyway, that's kind of a sidetrack. I wasn't really going to go into the specifics regarding that. That's for a CoachMD TV segment, which I will do at some point. But what I'm talking about here is when we venture out into that comfort zone and we start all of a sudden trying to pull ourselves back. And that's the brain trying to pull ourselves back into the comfort zone, because we step out and then all of a sudden we look around, oh my God, how did I get here? And then we come back. And that is our brain telling you that there's danger, threat, and vulnerability in this outside the comfort zone. But guess what? All your magic is going to happen outside of your comfort zone right now. I have news for you. So when we project into the future, all the possibilities, even if maybe they're not probable, but they're possible. Even there may be a 1% possibility. It's like the guy who comes into my office and says, "Oh, doc, my shoulder hurts. Oh, it's killing me. What do you think it is? Could it be cancer?" Well, if he's pinning me to the wall to say, "Doc, tell me, could it be cancer?" Well, I would have to be honest and say, well, there is a possibility that it could be cancer, but it's an improbability. So we think that this automatic brain, I call our brain, tries to protect us and is very logical. It's actually not very logical, because it goes on possibility and not probability. Whereas our higher mind, our consciousness, our connection with our divine is much more connected with reality, because it doesn't allow us to fight or flee probability. So when we step outside that comfort zone, it's improbable that horrible things are going to happen. Yet our brain projects into the future. And there's a great parable. I was involved in the martial arts for some time back in medical school and afterwards for about 12 to 13 years. And one of my favorite parables that was told to me was this boy goes to his karate sensei. He's 10 years old, and he says, "Sensei, I want to become a black belt." And the sensei says, and the boy says, "How long will it take me?" And the sensei says, 10 years, my son. He looks at him, 10 years? I'm 10 years old. That's my whole lifetime. What if I would dedicate my life to karate. I would study 24/7. I would do all the education, and I drop everything I've ever done and just study karate. How long then, Sensei? 20 years, my son. 20 years. What if I were to move here in the dojo, be by your side, Sensei, study with you day in and day out, and you are my mentor. You are everything and everything to me. And I would live, breathe karate. How long then, Sensei? The Sensei looked at him. Son, 30 years. Perplexed, the boy looked again and said, I don't understand. And the Sensei looked at him and he said, son, if you have one eye on your goal, you have only one eye on the path in which to find the way. So what does that mean? Does that mean you don't set any goals for yourself? No. But what it does mean is that it's very important that when you take a step outside of that comfort zone and you want to change and grow, it's so crucial that you focus on your steps today. Those steps today. And you make those steps the best steps you can make. You work that and you take everything that you've been gifted and you apply it today. And then tomorrow you do the same thing. And guess what? As you march along that path, your goal will be made for you. You don't have to be scared and daunted by that goal that you are visualizing that is scaring the heck out of you and triggering your automatic brain for you to fight and flee to go back. It's important to focus on that path to every day, to be the best you can be every single day, because then you may not even arrive at where you thought you'd arrive. You'd arrive in a better place. The Dalai Lama, I love quoting, once said, paraphrasing, that sometimes not getting what we want can be the greatest stroke of luck. So we think we want something out here, and that something out here, we have one eye on it, and we're focusing on it, and we're not taking the steps. We're not being diligent here. We're not being responsible here, now. We're not being dedicated here, now. We're not doing our best here, now. And so that is my message for my Magical Monday message for today, is that when we try to grow and have and change, it's going to trigger our automatic brain because we're doing something different and potentially dangerous. But I can tell you it is not as dangerous as it is staying put where you are. So when that depression starts kicking in, realize that's because of the regrets that you're the regrets you're having from the past, or the sadness you're having about circumstances in the past that you can do nothing about now. And then when that anxiety hits, it's about projecting the what ifs, the what could be in the future. And by doing that, it causes you to fight or flee back. It causes you to trust that danger, and it actually makes it much harder for you to achieve and to walk along that path in a deliberate, confident, and focused way. So I hope you are enjoying these Magical Monday broadcasts, and I will be having more CoachMD TV as I see more people are interested in hearing what I have to share. There are some new things that I'm doing, which I want you to look for. I think they could be very beneficial. I do have a free ebook called Fake News Stories by Your Brain. So look for that and definitely read that, because I think it could be very helpful. I do have my Brain Code program, which I'm not overly promoting. It's a $47 10-modular program, which I think is reasonably priced. I didn't do that to price anybody out, and I put a lot of effort into it. I'm not overly promoting that. It's just that I think my free ebook might be better suited for a lot of people, since it is free. There's no strings attached there. And of course my book Brain Drain, which a lot of you know. And anyway, I really appreciate your time. do make sure that you, on my page, on my CoachMD page, hit follow, so you make sure that you will get and be kept up to date with my anything that I have that's new coming out, and my daily quotes and inspirations. I am also an author now at Go McGill Media. They're associated with Jenny and Bryant McGill, who of course founded Simple Reminders and the Royal Group. Be Royal, you should look at that, and you should become involved in the Royal Group. I think that could be it's a great supportive group of, I think, 35,000 other people, and that's on Facebook. So anyway, again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this Magical Monday broadcast. I hope your week is magical, that you do take a little bit of a step outside that comfort zone, and that you apply all the gifts and talents and skills that are truly God-given. And I wish you the best. I love you. God bless you. Next week I won't be broadcasting, just to let you know, but the following week I will. Bye for now.